ESPN 620. They're 7-1 this weekend. They'll be up in Vegas, the Vegas Nighthawks, 6 o'clock up there in Henderson, Nevada. And he joins us now here. What's going on, Coach? How you doing today?
Doing great, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Hey, I want to go back to your comeback win against Northern Arizona, the Wranglers. You guys really showed some resilience. What adjustments did you make to turn that game around and seal that win?
Well, we should have never been in that situation. Right before halftime, we were up 7. We got to stop, and we had the ball and drove down and scored. Our situational football, our clock management, I thought everything was great. How we executed. We scored with 3 seconds to go before halftime, which put us up 14, and we had the ball coming out the second half, which would have put us up 21. We would have been able to blow the game wide open, and we go up 14. We score with 3 seconds left, and then we kick off and let them run a kickoff back, and then we come out to start the third quarter, and we fumble, and next thing we know, we got ourselves into a ball game. Momentum shifted, and we just had to kind of settle down. I think we fumbled, and then we got stopped on 4 downs, 2 drives in a row. So the game had kind of flipped on us, and we just kept our poise, stayed together, and at the end, the game was tied. Our defense came up with a big stop, and we got the ball back and was able to drive down, and we wanted to leave as little time on the clock as possible, and we got down, inside the 5. It was 4th down, and what I did was I called the kicking team out. We were going to kick the field goal since the game was tied, and so you could see them over there preparing to try to block the kick, or telling them watch for the fake, because we were inside the 5-yard line, so I just had second thoughts about it, but I thought about this scenario before, and I've always told myself I'm going to put the kicking team out there, make them think we're kicking, then we're going to bring the offense back out. We had our timeout, so we brought our timeouts back out, and we brought our offense back out, and we just went for it, and we did a play action. We were so close to the goal line, the defense had to be bees to honey, and we found Houston in the back of the end zone. Yeah, so we got out there with a W. They always play us tough up there. The building's a matchbox, and the fans are sitting right on top of you, and it's very loud in there. So, but I thought our guys, handled it well. We obviously want to play better. I mean, listen, this team, we keep figuring out how to win these close games. We've played 8 games. 5 of them have literally came down to the last play or the last drive of the game, and we've been able to win 4 of them. So, resilient team. We just keep working, and hopefully we're going to turn these winning close into starting to win big.
Kevin, I want to ask you this. You've been doing this a long time. Do you consider yourself an innovator as when it comes to Arena League football? The way that you come up with a play on the fly. Last time we had you on the show, you made up a play on the bench, and it worked. And now you run not really a trick play, but you caught them off guard. Do you not sleep at night? Do you just dream about this all the time?
What's going on in that noggin?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm perceived how I'm perceived, but I would tell you this. I've watched the outdoor game for years. Okay. And, obviously played it myself, coached it myself. And then when I got in the arena indoor game, this is a possession game, and I've watched the outdoor game change from a possession, a field position game to, I think it's more today, more about possessions, the way they're running these offenses. And the only thing I haven't really bought into is, and I think the outdoor, if I was coaching outdoor, I would certainly have the guts to do it, is you always see these kickoff return teams put 5 guys up on that front line, and then the second line's like, 15 yards behind them, and I'm like, if I was, I would have a little bit more guts and trying some onside kicks and try to steal some possessions, the offenses. I think the arena game was just ahead of its time. I mean, Mouse Davis, the guy that was the godfather of the run and shoot offense. I mean, he's the one that came up with the rules of arena football. So, I think he was a little ahead of his time when they came up with the nuances of the game, and you're slowly seeing the outdoor game starting to change in many ways. Now, I don't like how the NFL does their kickoffs now. I understand why they do it, but I don't. That whole play is just taking all the fun out of special teams.
Yeah.
But in college they still do. So I do have an innovative mindset. I do sit around and try to think of all these different situations, and listen. At the end of the day, you got players that are counting on you. You got a staff that's counting on you. And you want to make sure you got your team prepared for every situation. And we actually, there was a couple of things that came up today, and so that I'm thinking through right now that I may want to pull out this weekend. But it's just part of the game. I think you're either evolving or you're becoming stagnant, and your mind's got to think that way.
Coach, and watching Dalton Sneed, I've been seeing it forever. For that one play, it was at the end of the first half you talked about, where it was almost very Eli-Manning-esque in the Super Bowl. He goes forward, breaks a tackle, shucks off a defender, goes left, goes right, comes back inside, has a coffee break, and just launches that ball in the end zone. Was that in the first half? And is there anything that he doesn't do that doesn't surprise you?
Well, that's something else that we had practiced. No, I'm just kidding.
You did?
Yeah.
No, listen, he always does a good job of figuring out how to get out of some of those tight situations. I thought Houston went up and did a great job of catching the ball at its highest point. But, there were some plays and I what they were doing with us, because we had a lot of speed on the field. There's 8 players on the field where they were dropping 6 and rushing 2. There was even a couple plays where they rushed 1 and was dropping 7, trying to take away our windows, because we had figured out what they were doing defensively, and there were some plays where Dalton was able to sit in the pocket for 8 to 9 seconds. We literally timed it, and we had good protection, but when they're dropping everybody like that, the only thing that you can do to get them out of that is the quarterback's got to take off running, or you got to have a running back that's friendly, that you check it down and get them to start tightening back up. So they were definitely trying to take away our big play and make us check it down and work. And are we going to break down ourselves? But Dalton's done such a great job from a leadership standpoint, and they're starting to attack us differently this year than they did last year. So we're making some adjustments on the fly. And I've always told the players, I love guys that love football, and Dalton's one of those guys. He loves football. He loves talking football. So it's easy when we're sitting here talking about situations. It's always good to have a quarterback that it's important to them and they want to win. When you get into these deep conversations, here's how we want to play it. Just like this week. I mean, we probably spent 30 minutes today, on how we're going to score the ball from the 1 yard line, because, we're playing Vegas and they give you some different looks on the fronts, in that situation. So we got some check, some check with me plays, that we put in this week, to make sure that we get into the right play. So I enjoy working with Dalton. He's got a mind for the game, and certainly, me and him was sitting having lunch yesterday, and we probably talked 30, 45 minutes, just sitting there talking ball. I always have an appreciation for those guys that love what they do.
Coach, playoff positioning, and with every year you have a lot of new guys, but you're here a lot. How do you keep your guys kind of focused to maintain the position they're in, keep that momentum going, so they don't kind of like sit back? All right, we're 7-1, we're undefeated in the conference. How do you play that?
Well, it's normal behavior, right? It's human nature.
Sure.
And I don't care how much a coach gets up and talks about it. It's human nature, and that's something that we talk about a lot in our program. I'm big on the culture of the locker room. I'm big on mindset and how we're going to attack things, and sometimes the players, you can give them sugar, but eventually you got to give them some vinegar to wake them up. Okay. But we constantly sit here and talk about the mindset. You hear people say that it's,
clear to toss,
10% mental, 10% physical. And, my first question is, then we need to coach the mind more. So, so we sit here and we talk through a lot of different situations and what are we going into this week? What's going to be Vegas's mindset based on what's been happening with them over the last few weeks versus, hey, here's our mindset. And listen, we're coming off a championship, so we're getting everybody's best game. Everybody wants to be the one that beats us. The good thing is that I love about this business model is we turned over 70, 80% of our roster. So a lot of these guys are going through it for the first time.
Yeah.
So they don't know any better and they're just doing whatever we ask them to do. It's the ones that returned, from last year that you want to make sure that, the average mindset doesn't set in. So we spend a lot of time, discussing that. Obviously you got to execute your plays and things like that. And we're going to be inside for a while. So I love having the field down. We could walk from our meeting room right out here on the game field. And, yesterday we had about an hour's walk through just to save the bodies a little bit. You don't win the game on Tuesday or Wednesday. You win the game on Saturday. So we want to make sure we got fresh bodies, fresh minds going into the game this week. And it gives our guys a chance to heal up a little bit. We did hit the field today. We'll hit the field tomorrow, and then we travel on Friday.
Coach, good luck in Vegas, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for the time, as always.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That's Coach Kevin Guy, the Arizona Rattlers. Again, they got the Vegas Nighthawks on Saturday, 7-1 right now, having a remarkable season, as always. You can follow him on X at Coach K Guy. Brought to you today by the Network Automotive Centers. We've been talking about them all day long. Check them out by going to their website, thenetworkautomotive.com, where your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. All right, coming up, is the NBA actually better when the big names stay home? There's no Lakers. There's no Celtics. Maybe no Knicks. So if it's Thunders and Pacers, they're on the brink. Some say it's fresh. Others say it's a ratings nightmare. We're going to hit both sides next. It's Rock and Minute with Jimmy B from the Taco Spot.
I was in a wreck.